Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to my travel hack series video 11B. This is going to cover my review of the Etihad Flight 101 from Abu Dhabi to JFK in the apartments. I have two of them on this flight, one for me and one for my wife. I'm going to show you how I did it, and so stay tuned. If you like this video, please subscribe. We need your subscriptions. Give it a like. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when we put out new videos. And thanks a lot for watching. Okay, there's a separate first class terminal for first class passengers in Abu Dhabi on Etihad. We got dropped off at that terminal, walked in, were greeted immediately. They took our luggage. We sat down at a desk immediately. They checked us in and then took us to their flagship lounge. And this lounge is a very nice top tier lounge. It's definitely up there along with the pier that we love in Hong Kong, which is Cathay's International First Class Lounge. So we spent some time in there. I got Eggs Benedict, had a massage. Jennifer had another manicure. We had to go through security. At security, they took my GoPro and my laptop and put them into an envelope to pick up in the USA. It's because of their electronics ban that they have. As it turns out, it's an extra step. It takes extra time on the way leaving Abu Dhabi, and when you get in, you have to go to a special desk to pick it up again. All of this stuff seems to be under pretty good security, getting from airport to airport. Unfortunately, that meant I didn't have my GoPro to record any of the room on the plane, which was huge. All that I had was my phone. So the phone didn't have a very good camera angle, so all you get is a portion of the wall or a portion of the seat. You can't see the entirety of the room. I was able to take a bunch of pictures and stitch them together using a Panoramic app. I had apartment number 4, Jennifer had apartment number 3. They were joined by a wall that could be dropped. Half of the wall could be dropped at the bed area. On the other side of my room from hers is a place called the Residence, and that actually has 3 rooms. It has its own room like ours. It has a bathroom, its own private bathroom, and a room with a full-sized bed. And it comes with its own butler. But we weren't in that. That was called the Residence. We're in First Class Apartments. That would probably be the biggest commercial rooms on a plane in the world. Ours are the largest first class rooms on a plane at the time. Right now I think Singapore has actually taken that over with their new first class suites. But Etihad Apartments are massive. We've been on Cathay Pacific multiple times. I think I've flown it 6 times on their first class suites in their 777s. And I do have to say these are quite a bit larger. On Cathay you could still get away with calling it a seat. On Etihad you wouldn't even consider calling it a suite. It's so big. They're much more than a seat. Actually lie down in a separate bed, separate from your seat. You can get up and walk around. You can go back and forth with no reclining needed. Simply stated, they're huge. Inside your apartment, you have a vanity with a large lit mirror. You have a mini fridge. I had a couple of Cokes, a couple of Sprites, a couple of water bottles in mine, and there's storage cubbies everywhere. And be careful, because if you have phones and knickknacks, which you probably don't have as many because they all got taken back at security for the electronics ban, make sure you check all of them before you leave, because there's a ton of little cubbies everywhere, and you don't want to leave your headphones or your phone or your iPod in one of these and forget about it. I will also say there is a massive 24-inch high-definition touch screen that is right in front of you. It has 2 remotes. On the remote, there's a little TV screen there too, and you can control it from your bed or you can control the TV from your chair. The headphones are comfortable. They're called Phytech noise canceling headphones, and I would say the apartment, even though we had 2 adjoining apartments, each individual apartment was definitely enough to fit 2 adults in there. I would say that if you wanted to max it out, you could probably put 4 to 5 adults in the room, and they would just sit along the bench and you in your chair. The rooms are completely private. On other planes, either you have the partial wall that's open up to the aisle, or some of them have small lower doors that can be seen over to give you a little bit of privacy. These had doors that were about 5'5" tall. So even though I could see over them without any problem, most of the staff couldn't, so it was almost like you were in complete privacy. Like I said, there were 2 rooms on each side that connect to one another. So if you're traveling with a partner, be sure and try and request the rooms that connect, and that way you can have an adjoining apartment. What it does is it connects the beds. So the middle, right in between the wall, you have your bench. Those benches actually lower down to a bed, and the bed connects at the middle top. So the wall at the top drops down, the beds connect together, and you each have a decent amount of room, and you can sleep face to face if you choose. Each room is so large that it has 3 exterior windows. The windows have electronic shades, and they're backed with a electronic blackout shade. Those are pretty nice. You can get the rooms fairly dark. Each cabin, I should say, has their own chef. So in first class, there were 7 people, I think, that were in first class, maybe 6. And we had our own chef that was dedicated to us. They claim that every item is a la carte. You can order whatever you want on the menu, order it at any time you want, and they'll make it up for you. I've also been told that even if it's not on the menu, you can make a request and the chef will make it for you. We didn't deal with that. We thought that the menu options were perfectly fine. The first class cabin crew was very nice. Our purser was a very nice person. The chef was excellent. He talked to us several times getting our meal orders during the entire flight. He introduced himself. He made it clear that he's willing to make anything at any point in time whenever we're ready to let him know. And so the service is quite good. I would say it's not quite on par with Cathay Pacific, where I think Cathay Pacific is a little bit overbearing. I've been on flights on Cathay Pacific where they're constantly asking you if everything's okay, and it becomes more of a distraction. And even though it's nice to have somebody at your beck and call, it does become a little bit annoying at a certain point. So this staff was a little bit more hands-off, which allowed you to be more private, take care of your stuff. If you needed something, you just hit the bell to get a purser to come and help you. Staff were very friendly. The food was pretty decent. I would say it was pretty good. The flight was extremely smooth. There was no turbulence to speak of. After takeoff, I changed into my Etihad provided pajamas. They were really short, but after standing and pulling on them, I managed to get it so it covered most of my shin. Spent the rest of my flight in my pajamas. Interesting tidbit. We got a voucher for free internet on the premium plan, is what it said on the little voucher. You can get 180 megabytes worth $20 is what it would cost back in economy. Mine went pretty quick. I was using email and Facebook on my phone, and in about 2 hours I started rationing myself because I started to notice that it was going down pretty quick. In a 15-hour flight, I wanted to make sure that I still had some left over. After those 2 hours, I realized I was probably only going to have 3 hours total. I had used up 2/3 of my time. Luckily for me, when they handed it to me, there were 2 that were adhesed together, so I had 2, so I wasn't really worried about it. The second one, I was going to ration a lot better. So after about 4 hours, that entire voucher was gone. I still had another, which in their description online, this is a quote of what it says on their website. Premium class guests on Etihad Airways flights to the U.S. will receive Wi-Fi vouchers from our cabin crew with the onboard welcome drink. These vouchers will provide free Wi-Fi for the duration of the flight. So when I got the 2 vouchers, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, okay, well, now that I've used up 2 of my 3 hours, I just keep getting vouchers as I run out. But I slowed down my usage, and then after about 9 hours, Jennifer, her first voucher ran out. out of the 15-hour flight. And I just told her, you know what, just go up and get another voucher. I had already been into my second voucher at this point. So she went to the cabin manager, and the cabin manager denied her that free voucher. Apparently, only one voucher per premium customer. So their duration of the flight has a different meaning to me. Duration may be true if you use your internet minimally, but I didn't think I was excessively using it, and it was gone pretty quick. So if you're planning on using it for continuous use, be sure and ration yourself, because duration doesn't mean duration, especially when you're flying on, I don't remember how much these seats would have cost. Normally they're probably $15,000 a piece, and they're not willing to give you a $20 voucher to follow their guidelines that they even state on their website. At about 2.5 hours prior to our descent, the cabin manager notified us that we could take our shower. We could get on schedule to take our shower, which I did. I took my shower at 40,000 feet, going 500 miles per hour, and then changed back into my regular clothes. This is really refreshing. If you've ever been on a 15-hour flight, it's really draining. But to be able to get up, and even though we were kind of in the luxury of having a full room on the plane, it was still very nice to be able to take a shower, be refreshed before we got off. On the flight, you were given an amenity kit to go along with your pajamas. It was a Christian Lacroix amenity bag with a magnetic clasp. It had a small zippered pouch. It had, let's see if I can pronounce this, it's Amorovicia luxury skincare products, an eye mask, socks, earplugs, and a comb. I think the men's amenity kit was also supposed to include a shave kit, but mine didn't have one. Not a biggie. Then came breakfast, scrambled eggs, bacon, hash browns. It was mediocre. Overall, these rooms were amazing. I would definitely give them a shot again, probably on a one-way itinerary, just so that we can experience it again. It would be nice if I could have had video of the flight. I would love to show the video. Hopefully these pictures have gotten just how big it was and how nice it was. Unfortunately, the food wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't bad either. Much better than the business class we had. I would say it was above average for food. Definitely Cathay has much better food on their flights. If I'm comparing Cathay to Etihad in their first class, I will say that every time that I've been on Cathay, except for once, it was very active. The cabin crew was always moving. They are always making sure you're okay. They're always walking by, looking at you to make sure that there's nothing needed. I think that you're not left for 5 minutes on Cathay without somebody being available to help you if you needed something. Again, this is a little bit overbearing at times. I think that they could probably move back to half as much as they do, or even a fourth of as much attentiveness as they have, and it would be appropriate. Who knows? Some people might need a little bit more attention that sit in first class. To me, it was just a little overbearing. On Etihad, it was much more laid back. You almost never saw them. If you wanted something, you had to press the purser button. Don't expect to be waited on hand and foot. If you need something, just remember that you're going to have to press the purser button. Etihad structures it a little bit differently. They don't pass you every 5 minutes. Your door is closed some of the time it's open, but they're not walking up and down and asking you if you're okay, because they would have to walk into your room pretty much to see how you were doing. So be prepared to use the purser button to ring your purser if you need something. In Abu Dhabi airport, you actually go through United States immigration. So actually consider that part of the airport a part of the United States. So before you even leave Abu Dhabi, you've gone through immigration. So when you come into the United States, you don't have to go through immigration. It's really kind of a slick way to do things. I'm surprised that they don't do it in a lot more areas, because I thought it was pretty smooth. I guess it could slow you down if you're late for a flight in Abu Dhabi, but they tell you to allow for going through immigration in Abu Dhabi whenever you make a flight that passes through there back to the United States. And that's probably a good thing too, because you've got the extra time involved in turning over your electronics. I can tell you that the immigration was quite slick, and we were pretty happy with it. So when we got into the States, we didn't have to go through immigration, which was really cool. We just went straight, got off the plane, picked up our luggage and started looking for a lounge. Etihad does not have a lounge in JFK, so we just assumed we're on a first class itinerary. We can find a lounge someplace. We've got Amex, we've got first class itinerary, Advantage itinerary that's flying on Etihad and American. But the weird thing was we went to the first class lounge in JFK for American, and they wouldn't let us in there. If you remember at the beginning of our flight, we weren't supposed to be in the American Airlines lounge. If anything, American would allow you to use their lounge when you're flying on an American Advantage award ticket in first class, but they wouldn't let us into the lounge. And the person at the desk at American Airlines lounge also thought that was weird, that we couldn't get in there, and we asked if there was any other lounge that we could get into, and she appeared to look it up in her computer and said, nope, they don't do any business with Etihad, allowing Etihad passengers into their lounges, even if you're flying on a first-class itinerary booked with American Advantage miles. We thought this was super strange. It's never happened before. We're actually flying American from JFK in first class to get down to Charlotte, and Charlotte to Denver in first class, and it's coded as first class. But the whole Abu Dhabi back to the United States is coded as an Etihad flight. So we ended up going to our gate and waiting at our gate to get on our next flight to Charlotte. That's pretty much the end of the story. We flew into Charlotte, couldn't get into any lounges there, and flew back to Denver. There's not much more to put on the table there. All I can say is this trip we booked entirely with American Airlines miles. So here's how it broke down. We used all American Airlines miles to book this flight. Going out, we flew in business class, and that was from Denver, Dallas to Abu Dhabi down to the Maldives. That was 70,000 miles, as you can see on the American Airlines award chart. Flying back, we wanted to spend some time in Dubai. We took our flight back from Abu Dhabi back to JFK to Charlotte to Denver. We didn't choose back from Mali because American Airlines has a maximum of a 24-hour layover, or 23 hours and 59 minutes. So if we wanted to fly from Mali to Dubai, we would have had to fly out of Dubai within 24 hours. We wanted to spend a few days in Dubai. So what we did is we just take a flight, which we paid for, from Mali to Dubai, and then we drove from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, and our trip back was from Abu Dhabi. Now, if we chose we didn't want to spend time in Dubai, it would have cost the same amount. If we had flown from Mali to Abu Dhabi, back to JFK, Charlotte, and Denver, it would have cost us 115,000 miles in first class. So Mali to Abu Dhabi back to Denver is 115,000. It is still 115,000 even though we only flew from Abu Dhabi to JFK to Charlotte back to Denver. That is because all legs within a region are included within the whole price structure. So long as you're within the maximum amount of legs that you're allowed to have for American Airlines, which has recently been reduced to 4 on international travel, it doesn't cost any more points if you fly down to Mali. But right now, if we had flown Mali to Dubai to Abu Dhabi to JFK, that's 1, 2, 3, to Charlotte would have been 4. That would have put us at our max. Going from Charlotte to Denver would have been a whole new award if we had done it that way, if we only decided to spend 23 hours in Dubai. It would have cost us 2 awards. One of them would have been 115,000. That's how we did it. These miles, as you can see in previous videos, I got from a lot of different things. I've gotten them from mostly applying for credit cards. I've applied for the Platinum AA card, the Executive AA card. I've also got a bank direct account, which gives me points every month based on how much of a balance I carry with them. So I get a bunch of miles every month just for having my money with them. I ended up getting a Fidelity brokerage account. Every way that I can get AA miles, I try to get them. So this flight was completely free for me. Well, I think it ended up being $56 for the way back. The entire round trip, including airfare and hotel, business class out, first class back, out of pocket was under $200. The flight back was $56 each, so that came to $120. hotel was nothing, and the flight out for taxes and fees came to under $80, so it was about $200 total for the entire trip. In that I'm not including the flight from Mali to Dubai that we actually paid for. Just because not necessarily everybody would have taken that route, and I could have paid for it with points, but we decided not to. The hotels we paid for with points as well. We stayed in all Hilton hotels, except for the one that we stayed in Abu Dhabi, and now I'm remembering this, so there was a little bit of a fee there. So if you like this video and you want to learn about the hotels, which included the Hilton Conrad in the Maldives, be sure and stick around for video 12. As it sits, let me know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe, like the video. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate you watching. Thanks. Bye.